there's something that every voter has to realize, regardless of whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or an independent, and that is that governments do not create wealth. There's not a government on the planet that creates wealth. Corporations create wealth. Wealthy individuals who are able to start their own businesses create wealth. Governments do not. Now, like the Democrat Party or the Democrat Socialists in this nation, they want to take money away from the rich and supposedly give to the poor and the middle class. Okay? You can redistribute the wealth all you want, but there's always going to be an elite class, no matter what type of government you live under. In this nation, it's corporation executives and business owners. They're the elite class. In most form of governments across the planet, it's the government. So Democrats want to take all the rich folks' money away. All they're going to do is give it to the government. Guess what? That's just going to make the government in this country the elite class, and we're going to be no different than the rest of the planet. There's still going to be an elite class, only there's going to be a lot more poor people asking for money. It's a very simple formula. The more you give to a nation of people who demand, the more they're going to want. That's how socialism arises. And that's also, in the end, how socialism always fails. Because at some point, the people demand more than the government is capable of giving. Okay? Income inequality is always going to exist in some way, shape, or form. Okay? That's a natural order of business. Okay? The people who run the business deserve to make more. Now, you might be able to make an argument for how much more they deserve to make, but you have to consider, okay, how much does it take to run a large corporation like Microsoft? Okay, what's the payroll for Microsoft? How much does it cost to keep all those buildings and machinery going? All right, what most people don't realize about rich people in the United States is all their wealth is not in cash. The majority of it is in humans and in capital, buildings, machinery, etc. Okay? Take their money away from them, and they're not going to be able to afford to keep maintenance. They're not going to be able to maintain the upkeep on that capital. Okay? And they could eventually lose it. It could just deteriorate into nothing and become unusable. They won't be able to afford to pay their workers the salary that they want. Okay? People will start quitting. When you start redistributing wealth, you kill jobs. It's that plain and simple. Okay? Now, like I said, no matter if the Democrat Socialists get their way or not, and they get to redistribute all the wealth, the government is still going to be elite, and they're going to be wealthy. So let's just take a quick look at the income disparities among some of the top nations in the world right now. So, Democrats and especially Democrat socialists in the United States are very fond of comparing the successes of socialist, Democrat socialist European countries. The funny thing about that is, if you ask these so called Democrat socialist countries in Europe if they're socialist, they'll say no. Uh, we've been introducing capitalism for several years now. But for the sake of the argument, what I'm going to do here is compare salaries, cost of living, etc. And well, I got one, two, three. I got three major countries here in Europe that I'm going to compare to the United States right now. Okay, let's start with Denmark. Okay, Denmark. The average salary of the Denmark citizen is $39,000 a year. Now, depending on which website you check, you might get different figures, but it's going to be close to that. Let's go to the government now, shall we? The Queen, yes, there is a Queen in Denmark, makes around $11 million a year. The Prime Minister, $250,000 a year. Now, the catch at $39,000 a year in Denmark, the cost of living in Denmark is 33% higher overall than it is here in the United States. All right, let's go to Switzerland. Okay, Switzerland's also a Democrat Socialist favorite. Now, they do have a nice average salary for citizens there at $51,000 a year. The average government official, $420,000 a year. Cost of living, 34% higher than it is here in the United States. All right, let's now the U.S. Average salary across all employment sectors in the United States is 51,900. Might as well say $52,000 a year. Your average U.S. senator or representative, $174,000 a year, while the president makes $400,000 a year. Okay. Germany is the surprise candidate here. Okay. They're roughly on par with the United States. Average salary there is a little over $49,000 a year. The chancellor makes a little less than our president, $300,000 a year. The cost of living is actually 17% lower than it is here in the United States. Okay? So whatever the Democrats, period, are feeding you about the successes in Europe are complete BS. Number one, they're not socialist. Number two, if you don't keep up with the news, the Brexit is coming. That's going to tear Europe apart. France is already pretty much in the toilet anyway. So, you know, the Democrats do not have a successful model of socialism. What they're telling you, in the news and these sound bites that you see on TV, it's complete fabrication. It's not true. Do your homework, and you'll find that out. If you take their word for it, you're going to believe everything. And that's exactly what the sound bites on TV are designed to do. They're designed to stir up your own personal beliefs. But if you don't do your homework, and you don't realize what kind of BS is actually going on, you're never going to be able to tell the difference. You're never going to be able to make an informed decision. If you want to make an informed decision, you're going to have to do something beside watching CNN or Fox News for the bulk of your day. Okay? Socialism does not work. It never has. And no matter how hard the Democrats or the Democrat socialists like AOC and Ilhan Omar try, it's never going to work. Okay, I'm going to give you some real world numbers that account for complete redistribution of income evenly across the board. And if you're too stupid to realize how ridiculous this is, then you're too stupid to vote, and you should just stay home on voting day. The world population is roughly 7.7 billion people. Okay? The world GDP, that is the amount of money the entire world makes, is about 88.8 trillion dollars, somewhere around there. That amounts to a little over $11,000 per person. Okay, now you tell me, is the president going to work for $11,000 a year? Is AOC going to continue her job trying to uh, protect our environment for $11,000 a year? Is the president of Russia going to work for $11,000 a year? Is the president of China going to work for $11,000 a year? Come on, people. Get your heads out of your ass. There is no such successful scenario for socialism. None. There never has been. There never will be. Somebody will always have more than you. And it will be the people that you trust with your money. You know, if you trust AOC with your money or Donald Trump with your money, hey, it's your choice. But ultimately, it's never going to work.